Why is it so hard for Caucasians to admit their guilt as far as the wrong that they have done to the original people on the planet in history? Why is it so hard for them to just admit it? Instead of admitting it, they'll continue, without even realizing it, they continue to uphold a racist code of honor. Don't even realize it. Because they'll get offended when somebody bring up history showing how their race and their culture at the time was rooted in racism. And anybody can research the shit because it's documented historical evidence. It's fact. It's factual. There's images, pictures of it, all type of shit. Destroyed nations due to racism and colonization. So why is it that they get so offended when somebody can show a video or documentation of historical accounts? And then if a Caucasian that's structured in righteousness speaks out and points out the racism that Caucasians have done in history, or they'll bash their own Caucasian friend. Like in the 60s, if a Caucasian liked or was friends with a black person, they'll call them a nigger lover. In other words, this was a derogatory word to them. This formation of love towards the original person, coming from a Caucasian, was derogatory to them. Y'all hear what I'm saying? It's still the same shit, just in a different form. When a Caucasian can make a video showing the wrong that their race has done, as for instance, there's this one video that I posted of a Caucasian lady, and she's basically breaking down how European culture or Caucasian culture is structured in racism. They all slander this lady, and it's nothing that she's saying is wrong. Everything she's saying is actual documented facts. But because it's coming from her and she's off the code, it's like a code that a lot of them live by. I ain't say all of them, but a lot of them live by this racist code of honor. And if one of them is off base with that code of honor, which really ain't no honor in being racist or promoting racism, but if one of them is off code, they attack them. They attack them. So like on my Facebook, Mr. Truth Teller, just read the comments on the video that I posted. I think it's called Uncovering the Falsehood of Historical Accounts, something like that. But anyway, it's the video with the Caucasian lady exposing the racism as far as history goes when it comes to her own race. You know, we'll point out, like, for the original people on the planet, we'll point out the bad in the black society and history all day. Don't nobody get upset with that shit. Don't nobody get upset with that. But the minute the Caucasian race, one of their own at that, excuse me, y'all, one of their own at that, exposes the fuckery that they have done throughout history ever since they've been on the planet. It go that far back. Since they came out of the Caucasus of mountains. They get in their feelings, as in other words, they're saying we must never destroy the white supremacy mindset. It's like they're rooted in superiority. It's like they have to have this superiority complex to make themselves look above everything else. In other words, to look good in all aspects and walks of life. As if nothing that they have done is in the wrong. When history, the whole entire history is based and written in bloodshed and in hate, is written in hate, bloodshed, and a bunch of goddamn lies. Written in hate, bloodshed, and a bunch of goddamn lies. How else do you think we get history? His story, the Caucasian story. It's his story. Okay, the shit is totally whitewashed. But when a Caucasian lady speak out on this shit, they get totally upset. I mean, they get upset with our black ass just for trying to learn this shit. You know, but some of them, I ain't saying all of them, okay? But the ones, put it this way. When you hurl a brick into a pack of dogs, the only one that yelps is the one that gets hits, okay? So if you not one of them pack of dogs that's in the damn herd, you ain't gonna get hit, okay? And then when you bring up reparations, oh man, I'd had this conversation with a Caucasian before. And he told me that he feel like he shouldn't have to pay a reparation. It shouldn't come out of his check. You know, his wages shouldn't be garnished because he wasn't back then. You know, he wasn't alive back then, so to say. But that's challenging. That's debatable too, because reincarnation is real. For all we know, his ass could have been black. We don't know. He could have been a slave owner. We don't know. He could have been born in another country during that time period. So I mean, that's debatable too. But that's not the issue that I'm arguing right now. But he said he didn't feel like his check shouldn't be garnished because he was saying the politicians were actually looking at a way to do that. But in order for them to do it, Caucasians would basically have to take a cut from their wages that they make. So, you know, I can understand where he's coming from because he said he wasn't back then. I can understand it. But here's the thing. You see, first of all, the land, the America, matter of fact, the whole fucking planet, every landmass belongs to the original people of the planet, which are so-called black people. Let's just get that clear. Because all this surface dwelling shit ain't getting nobody nowhere. You got to go to the root of it so you can see it for what it really is. The original Chinese are black. The original Japanese are black. I don't give a fuck. Every race was actually taught by the original people, which are black people. Every race was put on their feet and on the road to civilization by the original man and original woman. Okay? This is documented evidence that all the races seem to want to hide it for the most part. But some of them, they bring it out. Okay? So, in other words, every race owes homage to the original man on the earth, which are today's so-called black people. Okay? The natives on the planet. But nobody complains about the Jewish people getting reparations, the Hawaiians getting reparations, the Japanese getting reparations. But when it comes to the American original man on the planet, the so-called black man, there's a big issue about them getting reparations. So think about this, right? Even though you being a Caucasian, talking to Caucasian, even though you being a Caucasian was not born, we just say you wasn't born during that time. We just gonna go with the way the mindset is of today. Even though we know, like I said, that's up for debate. Because reincarnation is real. That shit already proven. Okay? But point is, but the reincarnation, that's not the topic of this video. So don't get caught on reincarnation. Some of y'all mind just go total left and can't stay on fucking topic. But even though we'll say that person wasn't born back then, you still sitting on some stolen shit. Your ancestors and you benefit today. Whether it be through a bunch of racist, nothing ass motherfuckers who were slave owners, who structured the governmental system and intertwined systematic racism in it, which is still in full effect today. Okay? Whether it be through the colonizers or the racist Caucasians at the time coming together based on the Seminole Revolt, setting up the Ku Klux Klan, who has been transferred to after they took off the sheets, they were transferred to cops today, okay? And a lot of them is in office, judges, lawyers, because they all fucking Freemasons, okay? Because the Klansmen were Freemasons disguised as Christians, okay? So, and that shit is structured in racism. That shit is structured in white supremacy. That shit is structured in bullshit, okay? So, let's get it clear. So, you still benefit from that same shit till today because it is still in full effect. So, you can say that was back then, this is now. No. Your ass, Caucasian, still benefit from it today, okay? Y'all sitting on stolen land. Y'all have a damn near 400-year jump by suppressing or oppressing the original people of the entire planet. Meaning every square land. Not just America, not just Africa. We was already over this bitch even before the continents drifted. What they call the continental drift. We was already here. So, and that's a fact, because the Caucasian history don't go no further back than 6,000 years. Because everywhere they went, they found us already there. And everywhere they went, they discovered some shit and they called it New Land, New Zealand, Newfoundland, New England, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, whatever the fuck it was new to them because they were new on the planet. Because they had just started discovering shit. Matter of fact, it was the African Moors, or the original people of the planet, that took them out the Dark Ages. And actually, it was also the Etruscans, who were a branch from the Kemites, who went into the Caucasus Mountains and got them out of the caves and put them on their feet on the road to civilization. So we was already over this bitch. So I don't want to hear nothing about y'all came from Africa, y'all had nothing to do with America. We was already over this bitch. Where's already fingerprints of the gods already over here? Cause that's why, like, if you read Graham Hancock book, you got black Olmecs already in the North and South America. We was already here. So y'all stole our shit. So if anybody is an immigrant, it is those that came over here, not those that were already over here. Okay? I gotta be a little aggressive because I'm trying to make a strong point. You see what I'm saying? No, I ain't this aggressive, but I'm trying to make a strong point. Because some of y'all just do not want to accept the fact of what history is. History is ugly. Well, Caucasian history anyway. These are facts. It's ugly. It's written in bloodshed, bunch of lies and hate. Okay? It's fucking ugly. We talking about a race that has totally, I'm just stating the facts. I don't give a fuck how you feel. This is facts. These documented facts ain't got nothing to do with feelings. This is facts. Okay? We're talking about a race that destroyed entire nations. Nations. Wiped out the Tasmanian people. They extinct. Extinct. Totally destroyed the Tasmanian people. Tried to wipe out, they've been trying to wipe out the natives on the planet for a long ass time. The original people on the planet. This is actual facts. So somebody may say, oh, you're being racist, you're causing division. No, I'm talking about fucking history, and I'm talking about up to today to where black people don't get reparations. Everybody else do, and we definitely deserve reparations. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Now I know it's gonna be a bunch of coons, Uncle Toms, and a bunch of racist, immature, primitive-minded motherfuckers gonna jump up in there and say some dumb shit. They always come. They gonna always be around. Okay? But you may say, oh, he's trying to promote hate, he's trying to promote racism. No, I'm just speaking fucking facts, historical facts. And I'm speaking what's going on today. See, think about it. I'm gonna put it out there. My race, the original people of the planet, has never, when some people say, he promote racism. My race has never told nobody they can't go sit in a restaurant because of their skin color. My race has never told no other race you can't use the restroom because of your skin color. My race has never went around just enslaving another race all over the fucking planet because of their skin color. My race has never set up a government that is systematically based on racism to suppress another race from advancing socially, economically, and structurally. Okay? My race has never done that shit. We don't even have the fucking power to implement racism. Racism is power and influence. We don't even have it. So by definition, I can't even be a fucking racist. So don't even try the dumb shit. Some of y'all just ain't got enough sense to even understand what real racism is. I can go on about how my race can't be racist, but we damn sure impacted by racism. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on a few things because some of you motherfuckers, y'all can't handle the truth. And again, when you hurl a brick in a pack of dogs, the only one that get hit is the one that get yelps. So I know it's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers getting hit in the comments. I know it's coming.
You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep south and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system.
White culture, if you could even call it culture, is based in racism. It was a narrative created by colonizers, like my Portuguese ancestors, in order to justify what they were doing to other people on the continent of Africa and even here in North America. And the narrative was that we white people were better than all other races. And they did so through Christianity. They took the Bible and different scripture verses, twisted it around in order to fit the narrative of colonialism and white supremacy, and also the patriarchy. And the patriarchy is white man in power. White supremacy is white man in power. Colonialism is white man in power. And Christianity, for the most part nowadays, is white man in power. There are historical references and proof where the Catholic Church actually said to enslave an African was to save their soul. The kidnapped and enslaved Africans that were here in North America were preached different scripture verses than were actually in the Bible. And that's why they weren't allowed to read. Because if they could read, then they could see that these scripture verses were incorrect and they couldn't be controlled anymore by this white God. Yes. And white people, we didn't identify as white until colonialism. We identified as Portuguese or Latvian or German or Italian or French. But then colonialism came around, and then all of a sudden we became white and we were superior because we were the chosen race by God, and the scripture verses proved it. And we had to go into other people's lands and preach the gospel when really it was all a ruse. It was all an excuse to go in and rape and pillage the land and the people and the cultures. So when I say that white culture is based in racism,
it is.
It's based in racism. Christianity was the Trojan horse of white supremacy and colonialism. And Western Christianity, as we know today, is still based within superiority.
Correct.
All Christians think that they're better than everybody else. I grew up in it. I'm very familiar with the culture.
Yes.
And it's part of the problem. There's a reason why most of Trump supporters are Christians.
Yep.
It's because they don't even realize that the conditioning of colonialism and Christianity and the patriarchy is so deeply embedded within them and their identity that they don't even see the truth. Yep. Christianity is based in superiority, in white superiority, in white culture, which is all based in racism.
The Christian religion organized by white people would be not for the white people, but for the purpose of enslaving black people.
Christianity. Some shit that was forced on my ancestors ancestors during slavery? Didn't nobody accept that shit willingly? So why should I respect some shit like that?
You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here, and God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you.
I think he said it all.